Welcome to the Soul Diva Speaks podcast show, and my name is Colette Morris. I will be your host this week, and this week we have a special guest, Deian Abankwa. We're going to be discussing the recent events that happened last week with the unlawful killing of George Floyd in America. So let's continue our discussions over with Deian. So in today's show, we'll be talking about recent events that happened over in America. 6 days ago, where George Floyd, 46, died after being arrested by police outside a shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The footage of the arrest on the 25th of May shows a white police officer, Derek Chauvin, kneeling on Mr. Floyd's neck while he was pinned to the floor, his hands handcuffed behind his back. Mr. Chauvin, 44, has been charged with murder, but the events that led to his death happened within just 30 minutes based on accounts from witnesses, video footage and official statements. Here's what we know so far. It began with a report of a fake $20 bill on the 25th of May. A report was made when Mr. Floyd bought a packet of cigarettes from Cup Foods at a grocery store. Believing the $20 bill he used to be counterfeit, a store employee reported it to police. Mr. Floyd had been living in Minneapolis for several years after moving there from his native Houston. He had recently been working as a bouncer in the city, but like millions of other Americans, he was left jobless by the coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Floyd was a regular at Cup Foods. He was a friendly face, a pleasant customer who never knew or caused any trouble, the store owner Mike Abumayala told NBC. But Mike was not at work on the day of the incident. In reporting the suspicious bill, his teenage employee was just following protocol. In a call to 911 made at 20:01, the employee told the operator he had demanded the cigarettes back, but he, Floyd, doesn't want to do that, according to a transcript released by authorities. The employee said the man appeared drunk and not in control of himself. Shortly after the call, at 20:08, 2 police officers arrived. Mr. Floyd was sitting with 2 other people in a car parked around the corner. After approaching the car, one of the officers, Thomas Lane, pulled out his gun and ordered Mr. Floyd to show his hands. In an account of the incident, prosecutors do not explain why Mr. Lane thought it necessary to draw his gun, but Mr. Lane's prosecutor says put his hands on Mr. Floyd and pulled him out of the car. Then Mr. Floyd actively resisted being handcuffed. Once handcuffed, though, Mr. Floyd became compliant. While Mr. Lane explained he was being arrested for passing counterfeit currency, it was when officers tried to put Mr. Floyd in their squad car that a struggle ensued. Around 2014, Mr. Floyd stiffened up, fell to the ground and told the officers he was claustrophobic, according to the report. Mr. Chauvin arrived at the scene. He and other officers were involved in further attempt to put Mr. Floyd in the car. During this attempt, Mr. Chauvin pulled Mr. Floyd out of the passenger side, causing him to fall to the ground. He lay there face down, still in handcuffs. That's when witnesses started to film Mr. Floyd, who appeared to be in a distressed state. These moments, captured on multiple mobile phones and shared widely on social media, would prove to be Mr. Floyd's last. So these events, him saying he couldn't breathe, he was pleading for his mother and begging, please, please, please. For 8 minutes and 46 seconds, this officer kept his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, and subsequently he died. This caused riots in America, and it caused outrage across the world globally. So many people have expressed their opinions on social media, from all nationalities, from all races, from all countries globally. To think that this slave mentality still exists in America, this mentality where white officers have no disregard to black lives, still exist, and this is where we take up our conversations. So I'd like to introduce Deian Abankwa.
For our listeners, so when you called me this morning, because I know we'd already planned to have during the events over the weekend and just talking to people and just watching what was happening in America and also in the UK actually, where people started protesting this weekend outside the US embassy. I was quite reassured, I have to say. But when my daughter first showed me the video, I think it was Friday, I was just like, what? Part of me was thinking, oh, is this man really going to die live on camera? Is this man really going to die? Is this policeman going to get off this man's neck? And then I watched it to the end and I thought, oh my God, this man is going to die. He's going to die, he's going to die. And then he died. When you saw them pick up his crumpled body and put it onto the stretcher to take him into the ambulance, I just knew the man was dead. And I looked at my daughter and I went, she looked at me and I looked at her, and I just was just tears.
You know what? I couldn't even look at it.
I know. And then it started a conversation with my daughter and I. We started talking about the police brutality, and I asked her how she was feeling about the whole thing. And but interestingly, she'd already seen it earlier, and she said to me, "Mum, this is my daughter. What you're about to see is really distressing, and I don't want you to get upset." So it's almost like the roles were reversed. It was my daughter coaching me, said, "Don't get upset, Mum, by what I'm going to show you." And then we had a conversation back and forth about police brutality, what it means to be Black, and why this even took place and why this is still happening and over again. And after we had that initial conversation, I just was like drawn to the videos, just watching the reactions of people and how the protests were beginning to rise, and then the fires started to burn. You know, it's like, whoa. And the outpouring of anger. And what reassured me was not so much the anger, but the fact that there was everybody. It was just a Black thing. As you said, it's a human thing. People, Black, white, yellow, pink, everybody was just outraged by what had just happened. But it's not the first time, but there was a different volume and a different quality to the outrage this time. It's like, no. And it's like going beyond the I can't breathe. It's like the I can't breathe was not just it was like he was speaking for everybody and all our frustrations because of the COVID and the lockdown. He was just expressing something for humanity, I think. And I think that's why it sort of resonated with so many people. I remember I shared it on Facebook and I shared it in several of my groups that I participate in on WhatsApp. And there was one woman who said, "Have I missed something? What's this happening about George Floyd?" I went, "Yeah, you've missed something, but you'll soon catch up." You know, it's like, and there's nothing wrong. And I just think, like when you called me this morning, I didn't want to participate. I didn't even want to have a conversation about anything. I was just wanting to be with it all. But then when you started talking to me this morning and what you shared about the starfish, which you can let people know, I said, yeah, she's absolutely right. We do have to go on, despite how we feel, how angry we are. We have to go on and stay focused on what it is we're up to make a difference. And this spurs me on. It really, and I don't want to lose the impact in a way because it spurs me on. It's like, no, we've got to do better. So here I am on the call.
Yeah, I mean that's good. I mean there were so many views expressed over the weekend on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram over this, and some really positive views as well. Yes, there were negative views, but there were positive views. And one of the things that really jumped out at me was there was a post. I can't remember who it was, but they basically said that you know that this is still happening, and it still feels like we are. It still feels like we're in the era of slavery. Slavery might have ended 400 years ago, but we are still there because us as a race are still not looked upon as being worth anything. We aren't of any value. And another person then commented and said that the reason of this is because we. I think it was you sent me the video about not having a voice in the economy, and by not having a voice in the economy, we therefore cannot partake in the politics and the courts and the other levels that where we can make a difference. And to me that really jumped out, the fact that we've exchanged our chains of slavery. We are still bowing to massa through the police who have, not all, because it's not everybody who is like that, but it's just those few who are racist, deliberately entering the police force, masking their racism maybe to get to where they are. We don't know. But, putting that upon the innocent Black men and women, because I saw videos of police attacking women, black on black policeman attacking a Black woman because she hit a white policeman for putting his hands unnecessarily on her. Where are we going with all this? I know we have to respect authority, but authority also has to respect the people. And if authority doesn't respect the people, then yes, the people are going to rebel, and they're doing that now. They're showing that now. And what I like about this is that there are so many other races who are now seeing for the first time the inequality that is out there amongst, especially in America, amongst the people who hold the power, the lawmakers, and the black race, because we saw the Chinese or the Asian community, we saw the Hispanic community, we saw the white community coming out, and side by side, they're Black brothers and sisters. We are all one race, a human race. We're not a Black race. We are all one race. But yet there's one that is mistreated than the other. And we have to look at why, and have to look at, as I was explaining to you before, I didn't really want to delve into too much watching the videos and getting drawn in, because it upsets me to my heart to see that yet another young Black father has died, leaving his child fatherless, and a 2-year-old fatherless. For what? He wasn't resisting arrest. He was peacefully lying. He was on his front with his hands behind his back. What possessed that police officer to be in his neck? But all we can do is, we all have our voices individually. Yeah, we all have our focus individually to help our nation, our race, to come out, to be on top, to motivate them to grow and develop and do better. And all we could do is focus on doing what we are doing as individuals. But collectively, people will come together naturally, and we will be a part of that naturally. And it's only when that starts to happen that things will start to happen. As I can see, I feel helpless that I can't do anything for the masses, but I know I could do something for one person, and that one person will make a difference.
Mm. Yes, I definitely hear what you're saying. But something, I think we can do more. I really do. First thing I just wanted to say, the information I sent you yesterday was like, so people know what we're talking about. It was basically a model that describes like the social